degeneracy and corruption that have sprouted forward because of the um, damage that has been done by, let's just call a spade, the white community and the white population in America. So it's like, yeah, okay, gangster rap, gangster culture, whatever that is, that has a impact, but its impact is only as, I guess, potent because of these other things that have, really solidified our position, as a community, that makes it so, you know, much more of a problem than, like, say in the white community or the Latino community. That's why gang culture and thug culture is actually something that is actually detrimental to us. So when we're talking about this, I'd like to hear more so of a recognition of everything beforehand of the black community and why it's like this now. Because yes, there is a big influence on this culture, but it's not out of nowhere. And like, I'm not even like tapping on the other things, like, how much fast food and how much, pollution and etc. is in, like, black communities and around, like, you know cities where the black population is high, or the how the water in, like, black communities, there's more fluoride in their water. So like, we're not even touching on that either. So all of these are like more actual contributing factors to the, position that the black community finds themselves in today. And I think that's the thing that actually deserves more attention and more thing, and, like, more of a right to be talked about, instead of, like, gang culture, which is relatively new and not. It was still a bad thing that happened to the black community, but most certainly not the worst.
Okay. All right.
And just to finish off, I think it was Corey that was talking about, well, we need a group or something to do something about it. Yeah, I'm part of a group that is doing something about it. If you're interested, you could text me, and I mean, I could show you what that's about and what we're about. And so I'll just end right there.
All right. Thank you for your submission. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, just to respond to what the last speaker said, I think a lot of it has to do more with being poverty adjacent and being involved in poverty. Because if you go to communities that have a black population that are in a more upper echelon or more economically well-to-do area, you're not going to see the same issues or same problems that you just enumerated. So again, it comes down to education and it comes to class. What class are you a part of? And then based upon being in that class, what are going to be your motivations to do things every single day? If you're surrounded by people that are eating well, that are taking care of their health, that are exercising, that are looking into and invested in learning about how businesses run through how to read a balance statement or balance sheet, how to read a P&L, how to generate funding, all these different things that they're focused on, they're not going to be focused on doing dumb shit every single day. They're going to want to learn and network with more individuals to get more, or to increase their prosperity level and to increase their overall health. That, I think, is the biggest common denominator. What class are you a part of? What is your education level? And who are you surrounding yourself with? If I'm surrounding myself with armed robbers all day and individuals that are looking to set people up for the next jukes, I'm going to start thinking the same way. As opposed to if I'm surrounded by hedge fund managers, people that are doing big deals and earning big commissions, it's going to be the difference maker. And so how are you helping to elevate the people in your community into being in that next mind state, right? If I go look for a new place to live, am I looking to live in a place where there's shootings all the time, people are getting robbed regularly, and there's hits on a local community app that I'm subscribed to that shows me where crime is happening minute by minute? No, I want to live in a nice area. I want to live in a quiet area where I'm not going to have those issues. And so I think that should be the biggest push, is to promote more educational opportunity and to have it be cool to be involved in things other than the nonsense we see in TV.
All right. I did give a mic to Rev and Tazariak. Do they have mic? Because I can't see. Tazariak, do you
Yeah, I
have a
think I
mic?
have a mic.
Something going on
Yeah,
with this
can
app.
you hear me? I think.
Something going on with this app because I don't even see myself up. It's weird.
Go ahead, Boo. I'm gonna have to leave and come back.
Can y'all hear me or no?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a mic.
Go ahead,
Yeah, I
Boo.
got a mic.
Yeah, yeah. I have a lot to say actually, and I'm from the UK, right? But we have a lot of West Indian people here from the 1950s and 60s. They were invited here when we had a labour shortage. But as a result of that, there was a lot of shooting and looting, as the songs go, right? And the white press highlighted black crime over white crime, But poor whites and poor blacks, we've got the same issues. It's class, not race. So I want to ask again, can we stop calling each other nigger, right? Somebody mentioned Bill Burr earlier. Bill Burr is a
one of the
Irish.
first things you can do. One of the first things you can do is
Hang
not
on.
say it. If you want people, you have to be the example. So if you want people to not use it, then you don't need to use it. Have you
Okay,
heard me
yeah,
use it?
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, right? But let's go back to Bill Burr, right? Bill Burr is Irish Catholic. He's not Jewish. Somebody said he was Jewish earlier. He's Irish Catholic. His wife is black. So let's not put him in the racist bucket, right? I will historically own, as an Englishman, responsibility for the slave trade. Okay, right? Yeah, sure. I benefited from it generationally. I take also responsibility for the emancipation of slaves in the British Empire in the 1830s. So let's not forget about that, right? That was white people too. I was poor white. I grew up in a black area. My daughter, one day when we were walking to the park, we walked past a really nice car. She said,
Oh,
"Why
real
don't
quick.
we?"
Hold on. Why do when white folks say I grew up poor, they always finish it, I was growing up in a black area?
Well,
Am I
because
am
I
I
want
And
am I
is
the
he
only
white?
one that hears
Is,
that?
is this
because
gentleman?
because I
Is this gentleman speaking white?
no
I
I
think
because I
I
do.
don't know, like they
I,
always say
I'm,
that.
I'm,
I'm only.
I'm, I'm, I'm just telling you the truth, right? In Bristol, in Easton,
Is the
you
gentleman
know,
speaking white?
it's a
He's
Somebody
black
speaking.
area.
Bull is
Right?
speaking. Bull is speaking.
That's what I'm
Can,
asking. Is he a white man? That's what I'm asking.
can,
Yes.
well, let me finish, okay?
Because
Let me
wait,
fin-
I don't mind
hold on.
you finishing, but Corey made a point to say about the N word. He should have never said it at all. Nor
All
should we
right,
tell
okay,
people what. Nor should he be telling people what to say. As a
okay,
white man coming into a black space, telling black people what word they should or should not use, when they're the ones that gave the word as a derogatory form to us.
okay. Well,
But he
I
presented
mean,
himself like, because he presented himself like a black man. He said we should stop calling each other the N word as if he was one. I just wanted to highlight that. That's all. He shouldn't be allowed to do that at all.
all right. So I think we can have a
I think you owe the
conversation.
room an apology.
I think, all right, I apologize. But
Calling each other the N word as if he was one. I just wanted to highlight that. That's all. He shouldn't be allowed to do that at all.
all right, so I think we can have a
I think you owe the
conversation.
room an apology.
I think, all right, I apologize, but I think we can have a conversation about whether we can use the N word or not. All right, but let me finish. All right, so I I grew up
Why
in
would you
a
want to use
poor
it?
area. Hang on a second. Let me finish. All right, so I had good parents. They installed Christian values in me, right? But I admit I still had some white privilege. Okay, so for example, going to college to become a teacher, it was easier for me. All right, I started as a history teacher 30 years ago in Bristol. Right now, Bristol made huge amounts of money from the slave trade. Right now, when I asked the school kids, why are there black people in Bristol? They said, well, they were brought here as slaves. It's not true. Okay, what was happening was that tourism guides told people that the caves and chains in the docks uh, were there because people were brought here as slaves, right? And it's not true. Of course, the black people were not brought to Bristol to the UK as slaves. A very, very small number, all right? But ships went from Bristol to West Africa and bought slaves and took them to the Americas, right? So I actually created in my school a scheme of work to teach kids about where Jamaicans came from, where the Jamaicans in Bristol came from, and they were invited to the UK in the 1950s and 60s because we had a labour shortage, right? And it's very important that educational programs reflect the reality of that and the contribution of African and Asian and other immigrant people, both to the US and the UK. All
This
right.
dude is trolling.
Say that again.
Yeah, where are
So
we
how
going
Yeah,
with this? Where are
I
we
how
don't
this
going with this?
relate
understand
to
none
the
of this
title?
right here.
He's just
Uh,
trolling.
yeah, I don't know what this has to
Well,
do with the subject.
well,
Well, have you been boozing as well? It sounds like you're boozing a little bit
no,
today.
no,
Well,
I'm
here's
just,
the thing.
I,
But all right, hold on.
it's
So,
late,
Bull,
it's late
Well,
where I
Terry,
am.
hold on. Hey, hold on. At some point, you're going to have to land. All right, we let you prattle for so long. At some point, you're going to have to land. Stop. Spare us the labor pain, and have the baby.
Okay, so let me land the plane, right? So what I'm saying is that it's very important that people in America, people in the UK, understand where the black communities came from. Okay, I'm sorry, it's a bit late here and I've got a cold, but what I'm saying is that the black communities, particularly in the UK, were invited to the UK because we had a labour shortage, right? Not because they were slaves.
All right, thank you,
What does this
Jesus,
have to
man.
do with the title? I'm lost.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. All right, we finally landed that plane. All I see is Peter, and well, yeah, we'll tell you, but
John has his hand up and Jimmy has his hand up
John and Jimmy. All right,
The
and
Rev.
Rev.
all right, okay.
Let the Rev go first.
Oh, wonderful. Uh, black privilege. Thank you, cultivating patriot Corey. Before I make my comments, I would love to know what prompted this space. If you could share that, cultivating, what made you want to this? Did you see something, hear something, something in the news, or what? What was it?
I have seen a little man, I think he's like 2 years old, and he was rapping word to word. And those words that was coming out of his mouth was so dirty. If he was in front of me, I would have washed his mouth with soap. Um, like I would have washed his mouth all day long with soap. So I'm like, damn, this is what we feed him at early age. And I feel like it's a very it's bad in my opinion, but hey, that's just my opinion.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering, what your, uh, uh, what made you? Because I was thinking about this exact kind of title, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, just wondering. But yeah, so.
Oh, wait, did you say it out loud?
No, I didn't. No, it was just in my head. Like,
No, I was in your head then.
um, no, I mean, but I'm sure we all think about it. The impact of rap music,
I made you stay quiet for a little bit. Go ahead.
yeah, hip hop, drill rap, gangster rap. I think we all think about it, but I think we all respond to it or verbalize our thoughts to it differently. You have a pocket of black people who say, "Well, it's creative expression and it's what we live and it's okay because that's what we see every day." But then you have another group, and I think oftentimes it's in the minority that says hip hop. I won't say hip hop. I'll say gangster rap, drill rap is extremely detrimental to the black community, to the health and wealth of black people, to the mental health of black people, to the future of black people. And when I say futures, because it leads to just mass killing. So you can't have a future if you're dying at alarming rates, or you can't have a future if you commit close to 60% of the violent crime in a country when you're 12% of the population. So people are going to jail. So you're either dying or you're losing most of your adult life in prison, particularly because of the impact of the music. Now, I grew up listening to hip hop, but we didn't really get involved. My parents didn't let us listen to like that really deep, very detrimental stuff, talking about shooting and killing. Like my mom and dad didn't let us, they didn't buy us toy guns. We couldn't have water guns. We didn't have none of that. Right. My parents didn't let us play cards. I don't know how to play spades to this day. Poker, none of that. Now I can play Uno.
What? Oh, Rev. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rev.
And people ask me all the time, "You want to play spades?" Like, no, because if I renege, I know how black people act. They'll put you out of the house. So,
Yeah, that it gets crazy. It does. It does.
yeah, I don't get involved in it. So, but I think we have a responsibility to stop glorifying the debauchery in our music. Talking about even in these spaces when we disagree, it gets so violent and so nasty, and it leads to violent threats. But then people will say, "Well, no, that's just how black people talk. Those are terms of endearment." No, no, it ain't. Like the N word is not a term of endearment. Coon is not a term of endearment. We should not normalize black people wishing death on each other because we disagree about a particular topic or an ideology, right? And so even in professional space, I won't call these spaces professional, but even in these spaces, it happens. And so I think we need more voices to speak against the little dirks of the world, the who else? I don't know all the names of these guys, but anybody in drill rap, gangster rap, talking about killing people, running up on the ops, pissing on graves of people, all that kind of garbage. We need to speak loudly against that, because even the best kids coming from the best environment.
Guys, you got a troll on stage and he's flooding the big board with pornography. It's terrible.
What?
Yeah, y'all clean.
Yeah, look at the
Who's
big. I
doing it?
mean,
Who's
don't look at the
doing it?
big
Who?
boys. Some Dion D. Jenkins, troll of the year. He snuck on stage. That Dion, little Dion.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
It's
So,
always the Jews or the FBAs that come after me. I'm just saying.
but
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 go
we
ahead.
need loud voices to speak up against it. As we're talking loud about reparations, and we're talking loud about white supremacy, and we're talking loud about whatever victimization that we want to talk about today, whatever day it is. We need to take responsibility of how rap music is literally killing our political power, economic power, whatever kind of power you're talking about. Because guess what? While other races, their population is increasing, we're decreasing. And a big part of it is because of the music that we glorified. So I think it's detrimental. I think it's nasty, and I think we need to do better. And I think men need to stop letting their children participate in it and glorify it and listen to it. As you said, cultivate. You have little kids, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years old, that can recite every word from a Lil Durk or whomever song, but they don't know their ABCs. They can't complete coherent sentences. They don't know their algebra. So we've got a huge issue, and I appreciate you having this space.
And I appreciate you, Rev. I know you one of many that people people be calling you coon and whatnot because you are here trying to teach and correct way of living in our community. So I appreciate you for that, honestly. All bullshit aside. But let's go to Mr. Tazariak. Nice seeing you, love. And then we'll go to John.
Nice seeing you too.
Is
All right.
real quick before you go, is Patriot is still in here because I see him in here and he's running his pace. Are you there,
Yeah,
Patriot?
he's showing as co-host for me.
Interesting. Go ahead,
Yeah, I
Tazariak.
see him on here too as well. Um, I'm a little different on this subject, and I think it's meaning. Like, all right.
Real quick before you go, is Patriot is still in here because I see him in here and he's running his pace. Are you there,
Yeah,
Patriot?
he's showing as co-host for me.
Interesting. Go ahead,
Yeah, I
Tazariak.
see him on here too as well. Um, I'm a little different on this subject, and I think it's extremely detrimental to blame the youth um for the impact, meaning like the impact of gangster rap on the youth. I think if we don't acknowledge the parents of the youth as being the problem, I think we running a slippery slope. Long before hip hop existed, in the crack epidemic, you didn't have drill rap. In the dope epidemic, you didn't have drill rap. But we sure had black people dying from heroin, black people dying from crack. We had poverty. Somebody mentioned white supremacy. Yes, white supremacy is the root of all problems in the black community. That white supremacy, thank you too. That white supremacy also comes with Christianity, and for all the people recommend of real music or rap music in general, that didn't stop Kamala Harris from using them black women to twerk and shake their tail for the nation to see as she promoted to be vice president. What impact does that have on women? So, especially our young black women. So, the same way that that young child is listening and learning that music, you got Meg Thee Stallion twerking at the election. What is that teaching young black women? And who's leading that? So, are you going to blame Meg or you going to blame Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party that decided that Meg was the one that should represent? Megan Thee Stallion is just being Megan Thee Stallion. She ain't doing nothing different. She twerking, that's what she's known for. What's the other Glorilla? She talk about her moose knuckle, that's what she always do. So who is the parent that decided to say that we should let them be representatives of what we feel should be for the presidential election? And nobody ever wants to do that. How can we blame kids for the mistakes of what parents do? And we failed at the job. We can't ask kids to correct the problem that parents created. Hip hop existed for a long time. If you want to talk about influence, hip hop has no more of an influence than Law and Order Special Victims Unit, has no more influence than Call of Duty Modern Warfare, where you can get on there and you can put a switch. Right now, you can put a switch on Modern Warfare and you can get out there and kill. Where they getting that from? And what impact does that have? We have been desensitized to violence based on social media, based on what we saw. I remember somebody mentioned Lil Durk. When Lil Durk friend King Von got killed, social media pressured Lil Durk to get vengeance for King Von. Social media said, "Are you gonna ride for Von? Ride for Von." That's all they kept saying. Ride for Von, ride for Von. And then when Lil Durk ride for Von, now they're saying you shouldn't have done it. So how are we sitting here blaming gangster rap on the youth when gangster rap is not the cause of somebody also mentioned on here about oppression. The Bible says oppression make a wise man mad. If oppression can make a wise man mad, what would oppression make a poor man be? When that young kid goes outside and he has nothing to eat, it's not music that makes him rob, it's his condition that makes him rob. When that young woman gets pregnant at an early age, it ain't the music that's making her get an abortion, it's her condition that's making her get an abortion. It's such a small way of thinking to think that it's hip hop and only hip hop. Ain't nobody talk about R&B music that was all about sleeping with a woman and just because they could sell it eloquently. Reasons by Earth, Wind, and Fire is a one night stand. If Only for One Night by Luther Vandross is a one night stand. They just had a more poetic way to say, I want to hit it and quit it than what the rappers say. But the over sexualization has existed. So all of the same things that have existed in the black community has always been there. Violence, broken homes existed before gangster rap and drill music. So to sit here and blame it on the youth today as if it only started now is a disservice. And it also represents the problem of leadership. Because leadership that comes in and starts blaming the kids, what you don't want to do is accept responsibility for the failure that we played in that. I yield for now.
Hey, brother Zariak, that was a great one, right? And you know, I find it, you know, not saying what you're saying, but I find it when people talk about the village, I find that they're coming from a disingenuous place, and here's why I think that, because a lot of people talk about the village and we're supposed to pitch in and do this, that, and the third, but nobody's really worried about what's going on in that village or the community. A lot of people, and this is not just what, this is not just black or white. It's a thing that what's in your proximity that everybody says or yell about, right? A kid that you see around your way that you can talk to and have a conversation with. Um, then we turn around and say, why are we having these problems? Well, get involved with your community. It's easy. Yes, I get it. You may work an 8, 10 hour day, 12 hour day. You're tired. But if you're thinking about the future, it's easy to get on here and bitch about it. It's easy to get on social media and bitch about it. The hard work is getting out, even though you're tired, even though you're frustrated, even though you may be hungry. But getting up and getting out there and actually getting involved in your community. That's a lot of times with my when I talk about self accountability. Be accountable for what you do, right? Get out there and everybody likes to say touch the grass. I hate to get to the whole point that everybody keeps saying that, but guess what? Not just touch the grass, but touch. No, that sounds bad. But touch a family, right? Learn how to coexist. Learn how to even talk your issues or problems over. Just like Rev said earlier, we got a lot of people that come on and they just want to just destruct and disrupt. They become arsonists. All of a sudden, they like the guy that just put stuff up in the jumbotron, right? We having a meaningful conversation, and you decide to come in here, sneak on stage, and put it up in the jumbotron, put porn in there. So I mean, it's a lot to think of. I can't see the hands and where
We
we're
have
at, but I
literally
do want to
six
get it.
hands up. So
Can I just
um,
Okay.
can I just take
go
20
ahead, and
seconds
then we'll go to
if you don't
John.
mind?
Mhm.
Thank you. Corey, what you said about the graphs and stuff like that, I agree. That's why I speak from a place of actually being active in the community. Just for anybody that don't know me, I'm actually
I
active
seen you.
in.
You know, I watch Tommy, so I know what you do.
Oh,
I
okay.
seen you.
No sweat. But I think that's an important point that you make, and that's why I say like I take
John, while we wait for him.
It's just called drill, right? Like the style of music.
Well, drill rap, but
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
yeah, people just use it. It's a
up.
moniker, but
Right.
yeah.
But so drill is specific though. Isn't that like clapping or gang calling and who their next target is? Isn't that the specific like intent of it?
Kind of, but yeah, but yeah. For the sake of argument, let's go with
Okay.
that.
Cool.
But it's more depth. But go.
Yeah. No. I get the gist of it. I just want to make sure that that's kind of the same thing you were talking about. So I grew up listening to Tupac and Biggie, and is the East Coast West Coast sort of rivalry of things. Um, it is really crazy to listen back to like different progressions of things. And when I hear gangster rap, um, that's what that time frame, that era, that's what I think of that as. Not because the music hitting a certain way or whatever, but there was, a different rivalry, it seemed like. Um, there was, guns more, sort of that influence, but inevitably, obviously, shots rang out with them. But you look at dance battles, like, how that played a role in 70s and 80s and stuff like that versus other time frames. So I guess my question kind of becomes then, like, what do you consider gangster rap? And, you know, does it does it really just specifically apply to rap? Because if you think of like just the gangster element alone, I mean, it happened in the 20s and 30s and 40s and shit too.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't just apply to rap. Even more, we talked about earlier how rock and roll, or not just rock and roll, but and what was it
Like
called?
the Rat Pack.
Heavy metal had some influence. But heavy metal had influences on even impressionable children also. So it has to be an all around conversation about whether we want to blame parenting or we want to blame the music, but it has to be all around, right? It says rap up there, but just in general, there's a parent being supplement in a sense to say.
Yep, 100%. And I agree completely. You guys brought up the education part and, where it lies on the parents. And, look at it kind of from a perspective of accountability. Obviously, that's not taught, that's not instilled. And it's kind of a, first strike you're out. And I think the kids need to at least be educated in the fact that, hey, not this is wrong, but these are the elements that we're facing in life, right? And this is where education is important, like real life educational experiences sort of thing. Because what you're doing, just like anybody else in a criminal aspect, right? Like let's take a court, for instance, you remove the plausible deniability. So no, they can't say, well, I didn't know, right? And we have to look at it in that way similarly with our kids, right? We have to teach them responsibility through this is why, right? Show and tell. And I think that's missing, man. Like, and things just seem like it's just, I don't know, even through music and expression and things like that. Like, I remember Tupac saying, talking about the Illuminati all through your body. I mean, that was like a powerful, form of expression that he used in his music. But was he calling something out? And how is like music been manipulated is the way I look at it right now. And it's complete distraction and deception. And ultimately it comes down to absolutely educating our kids, but that starts with the parents. And that's where I just think of it from, point of view of being a dad. It falls on me. I can't go blaming anybody else unless I didn't know. But if I do then find out the answer, I have to be the one to correct the measures. And I think the correction is the most important part.
Thank you. We're going to go to Queen. We'll go to Queen, Jambalaya, Black, and then make it make sense.
Afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Great topic. Hello, Patri Corey. I don't know if I know you, but a pleasure to meet you. This topic is really
It's a
interesting.
pleasure to meet you too.
Thank you. It's really interesting to me. So first, let me define this by saying I am a wife, a mother, a grandma, and a neighborhood mom. I have raised 15 children. I have a total of 8 grandchildren. Um, and I have been married on years. Okay. In my opinion, my generation of parents dropped the ball. It's not music, it's not the culture. And I don't want to sound like an echo chamber. People say things, but when I start losing that human side, that starts at home. But how can you expect our children to have respect for lives, respect for themselves, when all they're surrounded by is disrespect? When you're in your home and the only words that they hear is curse words, they're screaming at the top of their lungs. They don't have any conflict resolution skills because they're not seeing it at home. And we know it's true because when you get on these spaces, you can't respectfully agree to disagree with anybody. You lose your cool. Your children learn from you whether you teach them directly or environmentally. They learn, they see, they witness everything. So thick is not the issue. My husband is a big hip slash gangster, the 80s, all of that. My children listen to all of that. But the buck stopped because there's this in the home. There's consequence for your actions. There's a standard set in the home. There's principles set in the home. If there's no standard, there's no standard. And I think a lot of parenting that has been done lately is people wanted so bad to give their kids what they thought they was missing that they forgot to give them the structure. They forgot to give them the foundation. They start refusing to allow other people to step in and discipline their children. Grandmothers can't even discipline their grandkids. Aunties can't discipline their. I got my ass whooped by everybody on the block. Everybody on the block. By the time I made it to my mom, it was only a little left. So we have to stop allowing excuses for the decay in our community because saying, in my opinion and experience, saying that rap music, no, it's our value system is the decay. And we have to stand up how to get these young people to us. But we definitely have to start by example. I don't go in a lot of spaces because I can't stand the negativity. I can't call it. I can't stand the belligerent disrespect. And for you, oh, but we cool like that. That's how we talk. I don't talk like that. I don't talk like that. And I don't want to be talked to like that. So that's my opinion. I'll land there. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Cultivate.
Of
Thank you,
course. Oh
Queen.
my
That was great.
gosh. Yes.
That was
Yep,
beautiful.
absolutely. Listen, Queen, I block people for calling me the B word, just so you know. I don't, I just don't. I can't do it.
I completely
So
off them. I
uh-huh.
completely basis. Yes.
But anyway, so let's go to King. Oh, Azaria, you came back. You were in the middle of speaking. You broke up. I don't know if you want to finish it or
I can wait.
not.
No,
Uh-huh.
I was kind of done. I was just letting them know that I do believe that you have to have foot on the ground with what you were speaking about, and I do that. That's all I was trying to say.
Okay, thank you, love. Go ahead, King.
This is actually completely off topic. Sorry to have to ask this. Everybody in the group, including you, Cultivate, I noticed today that for some reason, some of you are muted for me automatically, and I didn't do it myself. Is that a thing that's been happening with Twitter? I haven't. I'm not much of a Twitter or X guy. Is that a
What
normal
do you
thing? Has
mean
that
by
been
that?
happening?
Muted.
It's, I think it's glitching, and but it's glitching. But then also sometimes people have connection issues when they're talking. So sometimes it'll go out, sometimes it'll come back. But it's acting real, as we would say, glitchy today. Because I don't even see myself as a co-host, but I see the
Yeah, and
hands somewhat. Yeah.
I see
No,
Patriot in two
like
spaces.
Cultivate. I want to. You highlighted one of my funny gifs that I threw up there, funny memes, and I popped over your page and I noticed that you were muted for me, so I wouldn't get any of your messages. I was kind of surprised. Is that
What?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Then
And
you gotta
I
unmute
don't
me.
mute
It's
people.
on your side.
Yeah, I don't mute people ever, ever, ever.
That's
So I was just
crazy.
wondering if that is a thing that's been happening with some of you.
I don't know. That's weird though. But let's go to the hands. Go ahead, Jambalaya, and then Black, and then make it make sense.
Hello, Cultivating Corey. Good to be in your guys' space. And just want to give props to the Rev. That was excellent. Also to Queen. Beautiful. I'm glad that the room kind of came back to focus on some quality contributions. And I love you guys' spaces. I really do. I kind of get heartbroken when my hands up and there's a lot of back and forth. I kind of lose heart because I want to say something so bad and then I've forgotten it because there's a lot of a lot of great back and forth. But kind of want to go back to the music aspect. I'm a child of the 80s, 90s. So I grew up with a kind of mixed bag. You did have the NWA. I'm from West Los Angeles. So NWA was huge there. And then, of course, we had Tupac. But we also had De La Soul. We also had KRS-One, right? We had a lot of this kind of, I would say, conscious kind of music. And there was a mixture of the two, playing in the background always. Um, but I think when we try to separate what's being listened to and watched from actions, we do kind of do ourselves a disservice because of how we're made, right? Our bodies are like made to function off of frequencies. And as everybody was talking, I was just interested, why cats don't hear dog whistles. And it's because cats hear at a higher frequency and dogs hear within a different range. And I think, if you kind of change the frequency of how you hear things, meaning, and Queen kind of alluded to this, there's certain things you're just not going to listen to, you're not going to respond to, and you're not going to participate in because you just don't want your spirit participating in it. There's no benefit, there's no growth to it, right? So, I know that there's this mindset in the Black community that, we can take words that in times past were seen as egregious and abusive, and then somehow reformulate them. But I don't see the purpose in that. I mean, has that been a boon to us? Has it been, something that has caused us to speak to each other with respect and love and honor? It hasn't. So because you can't change what words mean, I don't care how much you want to make them mean something else. So I think that's an unfortunate thing too, as far as, raising our kids a certain way. While I agree that you can have a home that is godly, my home certainly is, and I have daughters, and we don't there's no cursing in our home. Nobody is speaking that way. We don't watch things where that kind of thing is celebrated or honored. And so my children just don't have a propensity to even think to speak that way. Um, but I understand that they're surrounded by an environment that loves that kind of stuff, glorifies it. You can barely even go in a store without hearing music or language that is along these lines. However, that's always going to be there. We're not going to be able to eradicate what people do outside the home or in the community. You're not going to be able to change that. You really only have the sphere of influence of your home, yourself, your children, your family. Everything outside of you is outside of your control. So the only thing that's really going to change that is more and more people who claim to believe in God actually doing their due diligence to participate in what believing is, and that is living what you believe, producing fruit in keeping with repentance, not just saying it and then not participating it, because you're representing a holy king. So if we go, and I hold us accountable because I don't hold unbelievers accountable for anything, because they're unbelievers. But those of us who claim to believe in God can't go around doing things, because what we do makes a mark in the earth, right? We can't go around doing things that are contradicted to the nature of the God we serve. If he wouldn't do it, should we? If he wouldn't say it, should we? If he wouldn't participate, should we? So that's something to think about. We are held at greater responsibility. The Bible says that he judges the house of the Lord first. That's number three. Lastly, I'll say this, that if more of us, again, who I'm holding accountable, who claim to believe in God, actually understood that we make great impressions sometimes without even speaking to people. People are watching what we do, they're watching how we act more than they're listening to what we say. And if we're not actually walking out the things we believe, then we can understand why the enemy sees that vacuum and fills it with his trash and his garbage. So, and I think there was a gentleman, Zari, I hope I'm not saying his name wrong, but he alluded to this. He said that, can we really hold the children responsible for what the parents aren't doing? No, we cannot. And some of us are still doing it. And I see that, even women older than myself, I can barely go to for any advice on being a good wife or a good mother because they're in the club and they want to wild out and twerk and listen to Meg the Stallion. None of those things that I do. So I would be glad for us not getting upset with each other when someone, white or otherwise, says we shouldn't use the N word. Now, I agree. I don't care what color he is. Is he saying something that's true? We seem to be upset when people that don't look like us say things that are true, acting as if when somebody who does look like us says that we're all of a sudden receptive. No, we're not. That's where the coon and the mammy and the bedouin stuff comes from, because we don't like hearing things that convict our hearts. But if it's true, it's worthy of listening to and looking at. Thank you guys. Love y'all.
Oh my God.
Damn,
Isn't
y'all
that
hitting on
amazing?
all cylinders today.
This is amazing.
That was
Thank you.
damn.
Thank you for that.
Lord have mercy. I don't know what to say.
I'm just
Thank you, Jambalaya.
happy. This kind of
And what
conversation
she
makes
just
me
said
happy.
is the reason why Tommy got suspended, right? If you look
Yeah.
at the reason why, that was why his account got taken down, because people didn't want to hear what he had to say and didn't want to take a good look in the mirror.
Yep. Go ahead, Black.
Well,
All right. Shout out to everybody in the room. Shout out to all the Black Americans in the room.
And
Yeah.
Africans,
So,
thank you.
couple things. Right. Right. Okay. So, let's ask ourselves who. I'm gonna address the topic, the question in the room. Who is the biggest consumer of rap music? Right. We got white males, Hispanics, Muslims, Asians. White males, suburban white males are the number one consumer of rap music, gangster rap, and music videos. Um, basically, you got rap videos and rap music, which start out. Uh, I'll specifically address violent rap music. A lot of violent rap music stars out being dished out on a local level, and it's consumed on a neighborhood level. But seeing that white suburban youth are the number one consumers of um, of violent rap music, you then start to commercialize Black death. You start to commercialize Black American violence, and you need and when you're commercializing something, you're making money off of it. Most of the time, you're gonna need more of it. You're gonna need to cultivate it. So that in itself is a problem, and not only um, are white Arab, and not only are white Arabs, Asians the number one consumers of black on black violence and black music that promotes that type of thing. That also feeds the prison pipeline. So that's a double whammy. You're pretty much feeding two monsters at that point. um and if who are the record labels putting millions of dollars behind this gangster rap, behind this violence? They're white people. Who are the radio stations putting millions of dollars behind this violence? They're white people. They're white owned
They're
radio
Jewish.
stations. Okay,
Oh,
they're,
different.
they're white people. They're white people. They're white and they're Jewish. They're white people. I mean, let's not do this whole Jew thing. I mean, they're white people. I'm not gonna do
No,
that.
they're a little
All
different.
right.
It's a
I'm
little
not gonna
different.
do this Jew thing.
No, no, no. It's like the difference between me and you, Mr. Black American, anti-African. I'm African, and you Black American. We both black. They're Jewish and they're white. So why are you pushing that on them for? We
All
can do
right.
the
Let
same
me
thing to you.
finish.
Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead,
because
sir.
you got some Jewish people who own the radio stations, and you got some white people. Whatever. They're white. Okay, but they're from
And
Europe,
then I'm
from the
black from
Caucasus.
Africa. Yep, you got it. Go ahead.
So at the end of the day, you're commercializing black on black violence. You're commercializing black crime. You're putting millions of dollars behind people killing each other, and you need more product. It's part of a machine. You need to promote this ideology. You need to promote this lifestyle so you can sell your coke, so you can sell your heroin. Who's peddling so you can sell your guns? Who's making Glock? Germans are making Glock. Who's selling? Who's pushing? Who's bringing this heroin into the neighborhoods? Who's bringing this cocaine into the neighborhoods? It needs to be sold. Somebody's got to sell it. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to pop those pills. It's a machine. Somebody's got to go to jail to fund those private prisons so those investors can make their dividends, baby. You know what I mean? So it's not about parents. It's not about that because if we were dishing out, yeah, you could thumbs down and all that bullshit. Excuse my language, but if we were dishing out millions of dollars and billions of dollars in scholarships for people to go to college and people to become uh uh people to get their careers, oh yeah, that'll be popular. Nobody's signing deals for people to go to college. Nobody's promoting people on the radio for people to go to college and people to get skilled up. And hey, does it have an impact on the youth? Oh yeah, it does. Because this gangster music, this is local, baby. This is local. A lot of this stuff that's being promoted, this is local. Uh, it's going on a local level. But the biggest consumers of this shit are white kids. That's who it's influencing. So at the end of the day, it's just a detrimental to. I mean, black Americans, we're like a casualty in the whole thing because it definitely does affect our people. But at the end of the day, this would be going on a local level if it wasn't millions of dollars being pushed behind it, because the lifestyle that these people are living, they're living it. Most of these people who are really doing this stuff, they're not like, suburban kids who come from a good background that really had another choice other than to go sell drugs or do this. These are people who come from really bad backgrounds. They experienced a lot of trauma when they were younger. And a lot of times, in a lot of situations, the people who are really doing this stuff, they really didn't have a choice. I mean, you do have some who get influenced by that music, but a lot are affected by poverty and things that really affected the community. So like I said, it's part of a machine. It's part of a machine. You got to sell the coke, you got to sell the heroin, you got to sell the guns. And black people aren't at the end of that pipeline supplying the heroin and the cocaine and the guns into the neighborhoods. At the end of the day, it's somebody who looks like a pale face. It's not a black person. So we got to really take a look at things and be really serious about what's really going on. So I'll land my plane there.
But you actually undercut your whole argument by saying that the white people were the ones who are consuming the music the most, but it's not the parenting that affects it. Why aren't we seeing a rash
I
then
see the
of
request, by the way. I'll bring you up. Just give me a second. Wow.
from pale faces or whites, to use your vernacular? Why aren't we seeing more pale face crime, a meteoric
But you
rise?
are, but you are. White people are arrested the most in America. You all are killed by police the most in America. You are
And is
seeing
that
a
is that
rise in
because
that.
of the music? Or is that because of the
Who
music?
knows? I mean, you are the biggest consumer of that type of music. You just asked why aren't we seeing it, and I told you you are seeing it.
So you're saying the demographic of whites, there's been a precipitous increase in crime directly as a result of listening to this type of music. You're saying, is that what you're positing?
I'm not sure if it's. I can't say that it's because you're listening to the music
What
or
he's
not.
asking, what he's asking is what's the variables that goes into your assertion.
I'm not sure. I just gave a fact that they are the largest consumers of that music, and
Well, you're saying you're
How
not
do you know?
sure, but
How
you
do you,
also said that it's definitely not the parenting. So if you're not sure, then how could you make an assertion that it's definitely not the parenting?
not the parenting what
It's not the parents that are responsible for this. It's
responsible for what?
for producing the effect of children getting involved in crime and going to prison, and getting involved in the lifestyle of aggravated robbery, aggravated assault, murder, and other detriments to society. If you're saying you're unsure, how could you say that it's not the
Because I
parenting?
mean, because it's not the parenting. Parenting doesn't have anything to do with that. I mean, we know what the reasons that people get into crime for. I mean, there are sociological studies that have proven why people commit crimes and other things like that. I mean, we don't
No,
have to
are
really
you
have a
saying that we?
hypothetical. We don't
Can you give me
we
an
don't have to
example
really
why?
hold on. Wait, let me finish. We don't really have to have a hypothetical. Hold on. There's a lot of people talking at once. You guys need to relax.
Hear me.
Black Americans?
I think
It must.
can I
You
be
know what?
heard?
It was the media that got him. The media silenced his microphone.
Was it the Jewish or
Can I
the
be
white
heard?
people?
You cultivated. We know that you're a Jewish agent. You don't play coy. We know you put the
I
alarm
sure
out
did.
to cut his mic. Sheesh. Can't escape
Mata.
these people
Can I
anywhere.
be
You know, it be your
can
own
I be
people
heard?
sometimes. It be your own people.
Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead, honey.
Can I be heard? I don't know if anybody can hear me.
Absolutely. I can hear you. Can
We
you
could
hear
hear
me?
you.
Oh,
we can hear
I
you.
just wanted to say something on that point that he made. like he kind of had a point when he said that the number one consumer of the music, but that still goes back to the issue is not the music, the issue is their upbringing, or the issue is oppression, or the issue is their condition. And I think that's where he kind of failed at, not acknowledging that. Because if the number one consumer is not out here doing the violence and the crimes that the music suggests, then that kills the notion that music is the reason why people are committing these crimes, people are acting this way. So then you got to look differently. And so you got to look at the way that these children are brought up. A lot of these children are the parents from the crack epidemic, right? The term crack babies. And if anybody grew up in the 80s, in the late 90s, and you see how the families were totally eradicated, but it doesn't stop them from having sex and having children. That's why their psychology of raising, being raised is off,
Can I finish what I was
because
saying?
broken home.
My
I'll be done. Give me
phone
like
died.
30. Give me like 30 seconds. Yeah, give me like 30 seconds. And so, broken homes, oppression, poor, poverty, that plays more of a
That's what
role
I
as
said.
to
I
why.
literally said that.
I don't know, but I don't know why you interrupted me though.
But because you said
I just
you
asked
Why
you
said
you?
I
30
didn't
Yes,
questions.
bring it in.
you
You said I didn't
hold
say
on,
that.
bro. The thing,
I
let
didn't
him
say you
finish.
didn't say that. That's not what I said. So I think that plays the role. That's the default of black people in the way that they're living. It has nothing to do with the music. I land right there so the brother could finish.
I have black.
Right, I agree with you. And that's the point I was getting to. Socioeconomic factors are what influence crime. And so we do see that white individuals are the highest crime committed individuals in the United States of America. So since we know for a fact that socioeconomic factors are what influence crime, we kind of do have to start thinking like, well, damn, maybe rap is influencing these white kids to commit all this crime because it's not socioeconomic factors. I mean, you guys hold the most wealth in America. So what's really the reason for you guys committing all this crime and being such a large portion of the penal system? So yeah, I'll land my plane there.
Do you think ratios are important? I know is the dreaded per capita argument, but do you think the per capita argument holds any water? And why do we even have per capita
per
as an argument?
capita per capita black people are affected more by socioeconomic discrepancies per capita, but you all aren't per capita. So what's the explanation for you all being such a high part of the crime rate if you're not affected by socioeconomic discrepancies like black people are, if you're not
Well, I
affected
mean,
by
there,
poverty
there,
like black
it,
people are?
inherently, there's more poor white people than black people just because of the population of whites, right? The poverty rate is higher. Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say the rate is higher. I'm going to say that there's more white people just by virtue of them being a
Okay, but you
larger
all
percentage of
still
the.
have socio, and whether it be economic, you all still, whether it be the economic aspect of it that you're trying to hit on, you all still have the socio upper hand. It's called socioeconomics. So
Social.
if you want to address the economic standpoint and say, okay, well, there are more white poor people in America, the white poor people in America still have the upper hand on black Americans. And that's a
How?
study that's a
How?
study that's been it's a study that's been proven by economists. You'll take your poorest white person and they'll still have a higher wealth income or a higher savings than a black individual who completed college. So and it's a lot of studies done by economists that prove this. So white people still have the socio upper hand, regardless of if they are still affected, or if they are affected economically. You all get more assistance from the government. You all are quicker to get assistance from the government. Say you have a poor white who is in need of housing. A poor white is going to receive a home faster than a poor black person who is in need of housing. You all, because there are white people who work in the system of giving out those wealth handouts, giving out those
Okay, so
government handouts to
all
people.
right.
Can you
So
put that
Okay,
data in the
hold on.
nest or
even if
put it
you
in the
are
comments?
even if you are even if you are affected more on an economic scale, you all still have the socio currency, and that balances your real currency out.
Mm.
It really
So
does,
what you saying? They
I
because
got
don't
So
you
you
believe what
all,
you're
hold
saying, and
on,
I
hold
want to
on,
see the
hold
you
data.
on.
saying they got
Yeah, I
white
do need to see
privilege?
the data. Yeah, that's what
yeah,
I'm
it's
saying.
called white
It's skin
privilege.
privilege.
Exactly,
Skin
white
privilege.
privilege.
But
Yes, that's a
So
very real thing.
when
okay,
all
so
right, go ahead, cultivate.
where's and yeah, I need the receipt. Like in this spaces we I need to see it on the jumbotron. You can just put it. Let me ask you this. Do you think a white homeless man and a black homeless man, is there any difference between them two black? Do you think like because his skin is white, he gets more points from others?
Most definitely,
Oh,
and I think
Nah,
you know,
man.
a lot of the times when these white people are ending up in those situations, you know, they come from privileged backgrounds. The only reason a lot of these white people end up in these impoverished situations, either because they're drug addicts or they're alcohol addicts.
Nah, man. I
Isn't
can't
that
even.
most of the homeless? Isn't that most of the homeless? They're mentally ill or they have a drug problem.
No, that's not most of the homeless. There's a lot of Black American homeless people who are affected simply because they ended up in bad situations, as opposed to white people who put themselves in bad situations because they are addicted to drugs and alcohol.
Hey, man.
Interesting. I'd love to see the data on
all
this.
right. So I need to go to make it. I gotta go to make. Go ahead. Make it make sense is next. I'm sorry. All right, and then we'll go to Michael. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, cultivation. I appreciate the space. I just wanted to respond and to the gangster rap issue. You know, I'm old enough to remember when gangster rap came out. The intentions on gangster rap was not to cause violence. Gangster rap didn't start out gangster rap. It started out as battle rap. It was a way. It was what our culture introduced to this society at that time. What the epidemic had just hit our people with was guns and drugs at that time. Rap was a way that was introduced to our society because black men and women was the focal point at that time uh, during the epidemic. Rap gave America a way to battle with one another and still be able to go home. That's the key. That's part of the key that's missing out of understanding what rap gave to humanity. We at that time were just starting out with finding out that the United States of America government had participated in flooding our communities with drugs. Not only the drugs, but also the weapons that went along with the guns. There was no reason for rap to become gangster rap when it was providing America and the people, especially us who were being affected by not making it home, dying in the streets every night. We was giving uh, America a way to make it home and battle at the same time. That's why rap and hip hop came at the same time. They were both an expressions of talking to each other without killing one another. And part of the reason, the greatest reason rap got derailed is because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but individual with power, influence, seen rap as being very influential and it having the power to uh, um, do more good than harm. So individuals misuse rap, and that's why not too long ago a brother on this space asked the question, well, why doesn't rap have any rules? Well, it didn't have any rules because individuals derailed rap, battle rap, and turned it into gangster rap. So now when we wish to when rap and hip hop came on the floor, they was forms of talking and expressing words towards one another. The problem is that we never really got to define what the moves and what the words really meant, although we was expressing, what we want to say. It's really no different than us learning about those hieroglyphs in Egypt. When you see those hieroglyphs, you see they use storks and beds and animals and X, Y, and Z to express their thoughts and opinions and ideas. rap in itself was the same thing that came out of a culture of a people who was oppressed. So they did the same thing, which what we always have did, but it got derailed because we wasn't empowered to control it. We introduced it, but we didn't have a chance to control it. So what we see now, even this app, is a representation of those words RAP, because we would get right up here and and we battle with one another every day, as I see it. And with just that little bit, I'm gonna fall back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You and then Mo. Go ahead.
Um. Yeah. I want to talk about the gangster rap shit. I understand that they say like the rap plays a part, the music plays a part in the violence, but man, if you look at the statistics, you know that crime was way higher than it is today in the 1980s and the 1970s and shit like that. It was way more homicides, and it was no gangster rap around that time. So, like when you just blame it on the music, like my experience, I remember when Chicago niggas came out in 2012. When they came out, I seen shit start. Goddamn, every young nigga wanted to catch a body. It seemed like since that, like motherfuckers just want to kill just to kill nowadays. It plays a part, but at the same time, I think that it's going to be crime regardless. Like when the guy was just speaking about the drugs, it's going to be drugs in America regardless, bro. Whether the music here or not, you take the music away, people still gonna be acting crazy. People still gonna be on drugs. People still gonna be killing motherfuckers. I mean, I think we just need to accept like what America is, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got the 1950s, the mafia was running around killing people crazy with no music. You get what I'm saying? It's just we need to take accountability, bro. We can't be just blaming this shit on music and shit like that. Take
Well, Michael,
accountability.
you forget about Frank Sinatra. You know what I'm saying? Fly Me to the Moon was a very gangster song. You know, it made you want to go out and murder when you said, Fly me to the moon. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was
I ain't
very
know that.
tough.
I ain't even know that, bro.
I'm being facetious. I'm being
Oh,
facetious.
oh, oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like this shit been going on for years. It's not gonna stop, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just my take on it, man.
So I do need to rotate the stage, you
You
guys.
mind if I respond to that? Can
Yes,
I
you can
respond
respond
to
to
that?
that, but people, you spoke. I need to rotate the stage, so don't get offended. Go ahead.
I'm almost young man. Music has a way with influencing people. Period. Not only music, but movies as well. Prime example: most of our young men today still try to be Scarface, and that movie came out, years ago. But people keep trying to live up to the image in which Scarface portrayed.
But
So it's I can't believe that music don't have an influence, but movies
but
do. You
but but
know what
Scarface.
I'm
All
saying?
right, when you talk about Scarface, though, bro, that movie inspired people just the money. When they playing that song, push it to the limit, and they was counting all that money. Bitch, I go back and watch that shit to this day, bro. It ain't just
It's
you know
the
what I'm saying.
influence. That's what it
It's
is. That's what it was. That's what they wanted you to have. They wanted you to do that. It was the influence of the
Yeah,
movie.
but Mike,
You saw what the magician wanted you to see.
Okay.
and the same thing now, right? Like
I need to get to the
watching
hands,
that
my love.
now
Hands, hands,
is different.
hands.
10
Go
seconds,
ahead,
10
Mo.
seconds, 10 seconds.
Okay, I'm
Watching
counting.
that
I'm
now is
counting.
so much
All right.
different than watching it when I was younger, right? Now I'm not going to go see Poppy on the block and get a kilo. I'm going to go and get money a legal way.
right.
I'll land.
No,
It's
go
all
ahead.
about
Go
money,
ahead.
though.
Now I'm not going to go see Poppy on the block and get a kilo. I'm going to go and get money a legal way.
Right.
I'll land.
No,
It's
go
all
ahead.
about
Go
money,
ahead,
though.
Mo. Go ahead, Mo.
Thank you, Coach. God bless everyone. Brother Corey, too, as well. Shout out to you, Captain Cesario, my queen sister. You too. I got 15 brothers and sisters. My mother had 12 kids, and my dad had 15 total. So I know. And Julie, we have to talk because I'm born and raised in Compton. Grew up on the east side of LA as well as the west side. So I grew up in the NWA area too. So I'm an 80s early, late 70s, early 80s baby. And so I grew. We went to the same high school. We went to the same high school. Me and Game, junior high school and high school, and same thing. But Parents didn't see that much. I want to say parents. A lot of parents didn't see nothing wrong with that. Some did, and some didn't. A lot of my cousins that was older than me, like 10 years, they was in the gang life, and that just heightened the fire on things. And like the older gentleman said, that has influence, that motivates you. It's like it's a spirit, and people don't want to talk about that too. But no matter what is, I wanted to just say what Miss Jubilee was saying. My family, my brothers and sisters, none of them are believers and nothing like that. And my wife wondered why we don't go around too much. I see them in neutral spaces, but I live by a standard. My kids and wife, we live by a standard. We live by God's word. And so that being said, like, I love you. I'm here for you. But when you're doing certain stuff, listening to certain stuff, it's not that I'm trying to look down on you or try to say that I'm better than you, but I'm doing better because I'm in a different headspace. And a lot of people don't want to offend people, but you're going to get offended when you live by a certain standard. Okay. When you live by a standard of holiness, when you live by a standard of God, you're going to let people know they're either going to rise up with you or they're going to fizzle away. And so, yes, music plays an influence. However, to combat that is us as parents. Like you said, our parents dropped the ball, and then it circles down to us as being parents, and then the generation just keep recycling itself. Well, it have to stop somewhere, and it have to stop with us. But a lot of people, when you get complacent, it kills. That's a military term. And so we need to not be complacent in what we do with our children and what they hear or what they see. Certain things obvious like pornography or things like that, but we think music is harmless. Is not harmless. It's killing people. And like what Cesario said, when little baby, the brother had to avenge his friend, and now social media, all these devices played a part. We don't understand. Satan is the prince of the power of the air, and we need to combat these things and then pour into our children the things that they need. And so when they older, that they can combat those things and teach those things. But it's going to keep recycling itself. And we're going to have to not be around or support this. If you to snuff out a fire is not to feed it. Okay. And we need to not feed it by supporting it, buying it, sharing it, doing all these things. Once we do that, then we could be on the right direction in helping us get better as a people. And I'll land there. Thank you.
Amen to that.
Thank you, Mo.
Okay, Tazariak, you there, Tazariak?
Yeah, yeah,
Brother
I'm here.
Tazariak.
Yeah, I'm here. Kind of lost my train. Can I go after the next
You
person?
can go whenever you want. You are a co-host here. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Oh,
Yeah,
thank you. I
go ahead,
appreciate it.
Queen.
Thank you. Mo, that was beautiful. I resonate with everything you said. I just want to respond to the gentleman. I'm not sure if he's in the room. I think it was Black America. I think
He's
that
here. Yeah.
yeah, some of the statistics that you gave are kind of off. And the reason why I say that is because, first of all, white America outnumbers us by 10 to 1. So, of course, their crime rate is going to be higher than ours. You have to compare apples to apples. Socioeconomic engineering definitely affected the Black community, but that should not negate our responsibility to the community, our culture, or our legacy, which is what we tend to forget. Just because the drugs are in the neighborhood doesn't mean we have to contribute to the selling of the drugs in our neighborhood by tearing down our community. Just because the guns are in our neighborhood does not mean we have to contribute to the black on black violence. You have to look at it from a higher level of thinking. You cannot say everything is the opposite race's fault. I hold no accountability or structure of what I'm putting into the universe, but I want the reward to it for it to come back. I birthed my children into this world. They were gifts to me from God. My responsibility to put into society productive, strong individuals. So, whatever's going on in the community, and let me tell you, sweetheart, I was born and raised on the west side of Chicago, right in the depth of gang violence. My uncle was one of the original vice lords. It was around me, but that doesn't mean me. I had to participate in it. And my mother made sure to surround us to where we wasn't activated in it. So when my children came along, and that's where the statement comes from, if it's not a standard, it's not a standard. You are not allowed to participate in that. It's not welcome in my home. You're not going to spend my money on it because I'm the parent. I don't care what you want. I'm the parent. I set the boundaries. I set the rules. I set the standards. And that's how we have to look at our children. There is so many things in this world that's thrown at us, even as an adult. Even as an adult, there's things thrown at you. There's obstacles that's put into your way. Are you going to continue to use society as an excuse for you not to succeed? No, you're going to figure out a way to climb over that hurdle and get to the next side because that's what's engineered within us. That's why we are now. And if you truly look at the statistic, Black Americans come up in the wealth gap, really come up in the wealth gap. Look at the 2023 statistics and how many Black Americans is in the six-figure salary range compared to white America, and we are less in numbers. Opportunities are there, but you're not going to find them if the only thing you ever see is the boogeyman on the other side, the machine that's stopping you. So, yes, gangster rap can influence it, but it doesn't have to win if you stand on what y'all like to say, business. I'll land there.
Oh my gosh,
Can I
mic
Wait,
can I
drop,
I
respond to
wanted to
her
wait,
since
mic
she addressed
drop.
me?
wait.
Can I respond to her since
Uh,
she addressed me? I just wanted to
Because I
say,
accept him.
I just wanted to say,
Hey,
she said that that white people's crime rates are high because they are the such a large population. I just wanted to say that population does not correlate with crime. If population were to have correlate with crime, that would mean that Hispanics would be the second largest perpetrators of crime in America, since they are the second largest group of people in America. Socioeconomic factors are what correlate with crime the most. So I just wanted to say that. Also, I wanted to say that yes, drugs are in the community, and just because drugs are in the community, no, it does not mean that we should contribute to the selling of drugs or anything like that. But if you have an impoverished community and you're not providing these people with any other means of eating, if you're not providing people who come from impoverished households with any other means of providing for their families or anything like that, of course they're going to revert to crime. They're going to revert to selling drugs, and nobody's saying that it's their decisions that are they're the ones deciding to sell these drugs. When you're going up against a multi-billion-dollar machine, which is drugs, and these drugs need to be sold, they're going to be sold. There's not really much that you can do to stop these drugs from being sold. And don't get me wrong, there are other races
Point.
of there are other races of people who sell these drugs, but of course the media is not going to shine the spotlight on these people, and of course they're not going to be arrested at
um,
the higher levels.
Corey, may I
That
clarify the
they're
numbers,
they're
please?
not going to be arrested at the
hold on,
high
hold on, hold on, hold
at
on.
the levels that Black Americans are arrested at, because Black Americans most of the time are being arrested for petty drug crimes, and these people are the ones that are flooding these
At some point, brother,
neighborhoods.
you got to land.
All right, well,
At
stop
some point, you
interrupting
got
me.
to land.
Okay, so
Hey, see.
let
Here's
me
the
finish
thing.
No,
my
no, no,
thought.
no.
If I'm
Let
gonna
him,
have
Yeah,
let
to
him,
land,
let
let me
him,
finish my
let him,
thought.
let him land.
I'm trying. I'm trying. ooh,
You not
I'm telling
trying
you,
to
I'm
let me
trying.
finish
It's
my
okay.
thought. You
It's okay.
talking?
Talk
I'm
patient.
trying to get you to wrap that
All
shit up,
right, I'm gonna
bro.
wrap
Okay.
the shit up. Be quiet.
Okay.
So like I was
Yeah,
saying,
Mm.
yeah,
you got to be
No, no, no,
mindful
no,
I
no,
got
no, no,
5
no,
more
no, no, no,
seconds.
no, 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 no.
Like,
But okay.
damn, bro,
It's
you can't
okay.
just be quiet for a second. Like, let
Okay.
me finish my thought. Like, that's the problem with people. They disrespectful. Like grown ass men can't even give your another
In,
grown
in
man respect.
in all
Like
actuality, it wasn't even
that's
your
the
turn. It was
problem. You
Brother
want to talk
Tazariak
about
right
parents?
there.
It's
It was Brother
disrespect.
Tazariak.
That's the problem.
It was Brother
You
Tazariak
got a
turn,
grown man
but you
that
jumped
can't even
in.
show respect to another grown man. That's the problem.
You couldn't even show
That's the
respect
real
to the
problem.
order.
That's
You
the
couldn't even
real
show
problem.
respect to the order, brother.
She addressed me and I addressed her back, brother.
Okay, that's cool. Then
Okay, that's
go
cool. So
start
let
your
me
own
land.
space and address her.
Like, damn.
I mean, this is a run-on sentence.
All right, so let
Yeah,
me
you
That's
land.
what
you
the
It's
are
not a
problem
run-on
rambling.
is.
sentence. It's a
You're
run-on
rambling.
sentence. What you saying? You like that's the run-on sentence. So, like I was saying, 5 more seconds.
Hey, y'all, let's get it.
Matter of fact, I'm just gonna land my plane because I can't remember. This big mouth nigga done threw me off. Go. Somebody go next. Whoever.
So you know what I find
Brother
funny about
Desire.
that? When I try to talk and just say, let's move this along. Now I'm a big mouth N-word. It's crazy. And that's I think that's what Jambalaya brought up earlier about the fact that, yeah, you don't like anybody cutting you off. You don't want anybody to do this, but we did have an order. And now all of a sudden, I'm the big mouth one, right? It doesn't have to be this long list of stuff because then she's going to respond. You're going to respond. Then we're going back and forth, and we're trying to move along the hands because we got so many hands up here. Brother Cesare, you got it, brother.
Hey, hey, I appreciate it. I wanted to respond to two things. First, and another point of gangster rap, right? Gangster rap didn't just exist in 2025. Gangster rap existed since Schoolie D. I'm a little older, so Schoolie D, before NWA, he would be like one of the first gangster rappers. And as gangster rap existed, and this is where the machine comes up, because it was another point where another brother was talking about battle rap. Battle rap exists to this day. I don't know if anybody follows battle rap. I do. I love it. And battle rap is like the greatest form of two black men being able to express themselves however they want. And they say the most craziest things to each other. They talk about their mamas, they done killed like 1,000 people in the battle rap. And when the battle is over after 3 rounds, they dap each other up, shake each other's hand, go off the stage, and go about their business. So you can't say gangster rap makes you violent because they have the discipline to stand there and tolerate what the other person is saying directly to them. I wanted to highlight that because that exists to this day, and you rarely hear of battle rappers fighting each other. You rarely hear of people getting shot or stabbed or robbed or anything like that at the actual battle rap events, and I've been to quite a few of them. Secondly, when we talk about the machine, what I also wanted to highlight what makes people talk about gangster rap today can only be blamed on the machine. Because when X Clan, Public Enemy, KRS One, Self Destruction Song, we're all in the same gang, all those songs existed at the same time that crime was still happening. The only difference is their music was allowed to be played along with the gangster rap. So if you wanted to listen to Onyx or you wanted to listen to Public Enemy, you had the option on both sides. In today's music, you do not have that option. There's only one form of music that's gonna get played. I remember Leo Cohen on the Breakfast Club when they was like, "Do you want talent or I forget the other word. It was like either talent or like airplay or something like that. And he chose the airplay. And Charlemagne called him a coach vulture. And his response was, I got a family to feed. So the machine really controls what music really gets pumped out. We don't control that machine. So whereas back in the day, you had positive rap, you had love rap, you had club rap, you had pop rap, you had all different type of music. So there was a genre. There was actually a hip hop genre of different styles of music of hip hop that you could listen to. Whereas today, there's only two kinds. They either talk about selling your vagina or taking somebody's vagina. You either talk about unaliving somebody or selling drugs. Like that's the only type. So when you tell young kids who are aspiring hip hop artists, and this is the only music that's gonna get played, those children are gonna believe that that's the only music that I have access to. So if I'm gonna be a rapper, this is what I'm gonna rap like. Because if I try to rap another way, that way is not acceptable. Which goes back to the parents. Like I think we waste too much time trying to blame kids for a problem. It's almost like when a mother, if the father is out the house, and then the mother tells the kid, "You got to be the man of the house." What does that even mean to a kid? To tell the kid he got to be the man of the house. He's 7. He 8. He don't know what it means to be a man of the house. So you can't tell these young kids that they got to be the man of hip hop, that they got to be the woman of hip hop. Well, like I said earlier, the brief reminder: Kamala Harris brought out twerking to her Democratic Party. To her Democratic Party that's supposed to be about style, maturity, parents that know what they're doing, had women twerking. I land.
Hey, bro,
Hey,
that's
brother
the
Taz.
accountability I was talking about too. Like
Hey, brother Taz.
having accountability as a
Do you
parent.
listen to the radio? Do you listen to the radio, brother Taz?
No, not a lot. Yeah, I don't listen to the radio because it's repetitive, so I don't listen to the
Okay.
radio.
Okay, perfect. Nobody listens to the radio. People choose their own music on streaming apps. So your argument was good 15 years ago when people were listening to the radio. Nobody listens to the radio. So people are choosing what they want to listen to now. Nobody's forcing a type of music on them.
I
Well,
don't
one of the
understand the point.
questions is, I didn't even. I just heard you. Are you still talking?
No, no, I'm not still talking, Corey. I didn't understand the point that the brother was making when he said 15 years ago. I was
Okay.
just telling him
Well,
that.
no, you said that the powers that be is only putting out certain music that people can consume. And I'm saying that consumers are the powers that be because nobody listens to the radio anymore. Radio is dead. So you get on your title or your Apple Music or your Spotify and you choose what you want to listen to. So people are purposely choosing drill rap, gangster rap, kill 'em dead, degeneracy.
That's a
Nobody's
fact.
forcing that. That was an argument 20 years ago
Oh, okay,
before
okay,
before
I get
before
the point.
streaming platforms,
No,
but that's not the case now because it's a la carte music.
So let
Right.
me ask you something though.
right.
As
No,
a
no, no, no,
I
no, no,
get
no,
what
no,
you're
no, no,
saying.
Michael, real quick.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, after Tazariak, let me
can
get
I ask him
this.
something real quick?
This, yeah, and then when you ask him, it's
wait,
gonna
wait.
go to the
I'll be
next. So
done.
let Tazariak go so I can get to the hands, please.
Yeah. Thank you, and I'll be done in a second. What I mean by machine, Sexy Red wasn't just nobody just went on social media, excuse me, on Spotify and selected Sexy Red. She was pushed. Nobody went on social media and selected the Glorillaz. They was pushed. Nobody went on social media and selected the people that are the face of hip hop today. They were pushed by a machine. So yes, you can control what you say, but let's not act like the machine can push somebody on us that we was not looking for. Nobody was looking for vagina pink and a booty hole brown that was pushed on it. That's all I'm saying. Are you?
That's a fact.